Hi, everyone. Today I'll be talking about embracing diversity, how to teach your children to embrace who they are, to love who they are, and also to show kindness to other people, to show fairness to other people. I'm not alone today, and I'll be joined by two friends, two very good friends, and very intelligent ladies. Tolu and Danny. So they'll join me at some point during the conversation, but I'll start this off. And when it's time to join in, I'll let you know. Thank you again for joining. So let's talk about diversity. What is diversity? We all know that, it's about differences. So the key thing is that we should teach our children to embrace diversity, to recognize that we're different. We come with different things. People have different eye colors, people have different skin colors, and it's important for them to recognize this and still um, love everyone, embrace what it is, celebrate diversity. There's beauty in different cultures, there's beauty in different people. So it's key that we teach our children to understand this and take away every bias, every possible bias. So the question is, does a bias exist? Now, in different situations, you could see, you may find that uh, some environments are more porous in a certain, I mean, in a manner of speaking than others. So sometimes uh, the love for diversity exists in some places. It doesn't exist in some places. In some places where it doesn't exist, people speak up. Some people speak up. In some other places, the bias exists, but everyone is just kind of quiet about it. So people are not saying anything. But people, young people, children, school age kids of about 2, 3, 4, they already experience these things. And the thing is that when biases occur, when children feel it, they feel it really bad. Sometimes if it affects them, it affects their self-esteem, it affects, the way they perceive other people, and it hurts parents really badly. So the question is, how do we really deal with these issues? One of my young friends, she's a teenager now, but she said to me that when she was about 7, her schoolmates used to call her a certain name and talk about her hair in an unkind way, and she reported this. When she reported it, the principal said, oh, next time it happens, make sure you report it to me. It happened again. She reported to the principal, and the principal said to her, oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry, but I can't help you. I'm sorry. She wept really badly, and she still remembers that experience till today. She's 15 now, but she remembers that experience so clearly because those things never really go away. So the question now is, as parents, how do we deal with these issues? How do we help our children? How do we help them to stay strong, to love who they are, and also to show fairness to other people? These are really important things. And our key role as parents is to guide. We have to guide these children. We have to show them the way. And so, based on that key question, the next thing I would ask is, what are your own biases as parents? Because we are their first big example. We're the first people that they see. They see how we relate to other people. They see how we engage when there are sensitive topics. They see how we do that. So how do we guide these children? What do these children see about us? It's very important. uh, Another key question that I would like to ask is, how young is too young to talk to these children about embracing diversity? And the answer to that is, they're never too young. So you find children 3 months who already know to do this, oh, stop that, and all that. These kids can already begin to learn the simple principles of fairness, the simple principles of love, simple principles of showing compassion, of sharing. When they begin to learn that, it helps them to also cope with the issues of diversity as they grow up. So they're never too young. I'm just going to highlight a few age brackets and how you can help the children. Now, it's important that you take the cues from your kids. So if your child is ready for more information, you will be the first to know. So give that child more information. If the child is still too young and may not understand, you will know. So you give that child just enough information that the child can handle. But they're never too young to learn this. So if your child is between, say, 3 months and up to 5 years, it's important to begin to instill in them the values of fairness, the values of compassion. Like I had said, it's important for you to teach them love. Let them recognize the differences and let them love, teach them to love the differences. It's very important. Teach them to be open to you. So for the little ones, you might not be able to, tell them too many stories, but with the little things that you do, the little things that you say, oh, stop that. No, no, give that person, they get they get that lesson. It's very important. For children that are about 4 to 8, in many environments, a 4-year-old is already in school. So for that age, it's important that you begin to introduce to them some more sensitive issues, because they will begin to interact with these issues in school. You don't have control over the kids that your children interact with in class, for example. So you can expect that they will behave a certain way, and they will turn around behaving in a totally different way. So it's important that you prepare your own children from home to understand these issues, so that when they interact with these issues in school, they know how to handle it. Give them a balanced narrative. As much as possible, you have to be very simple with your language. Let them understand, so that when your child goes to school and they say to your child, you can come and play with me because so and so, your child would understand that, oh, mom said, okay, some things used to happen in the past. This person doesn't know better. Okay. So, and then they understand how to, and we'll talk about how you would help them, how they can approach, these things, in how they can handle these issues in a way that would keep that they would still have their self-esteem intact. At the same time, they will not destroy the self-esteem of the other people because they probably just don't know better. I am not of that school of thought that some people are black and some people are white. And we've so accepted these things, but really it doesn't make sense, because that color black, no one is that color. That color white, no one is actually that color. Every one of us, we're people of color. We're all bound by the human race. Everyone is a person of color. You could be brown, you could be a shade of pitch, you could be a shade of yellow. So every time we think in that direction, we see ourselves more as one. So tell your children these things. So if someone tells you, go away, your black skin, or go away, your white skin, clearly they do not understand. For the older kids, say the twins and the teens, eight and above, it's important for parents to engage with them, because these children are dealing with issues of identity. They are getting into, a lot of them getting into maturity. So when things are said to them, it affects them deeply. They are also very exposed to the media. They see a lot of things. So it's important for parents to get to know what they know, ask them questions. What's going on? What happened in school today? Let them tell you, because sometimes these children think, oh, I'll deal with it. I don't even want to talk about it. It doesn't make me happy, so I don't want to talk about it. But you need to get it out from them. Get that information out so that you can help them, you can guide them. It's important that you teach your kids to know how to deal with these issues. So if your child comes home and tells you, oh, mom, people just say they don't like my hair. They say my hair is not like theirs. And perhaps the hair is maybe like mine. You need to teach your child that simple thing to say, you know what? I've got very beautiful Afro kinky hair. You know, when they wear themselves, when they are comfortable with who they are, even the people that try to make them feel uncomfortable begin to see, oh, wow, really? Oh, that's true. And they find it hard to come back and do that thing again because they see that that person, that child, is extremely confident. That boy is extremely confident. So you need to build their confidence from home, help them to have the right narrative to say. So when they come back home and tell you they said I shouldn't play with them, ask them, so what did you say? What did you say? What was your response? And it's important that you help your children to know that they should never force themselves on other people. If there are people that may not want to play with them, that's okay. Your children need to get to that point where they are comfortable to play by themselves. And when they play by themselves, tell them as well, when you are so excellent, people will just naturally gravitate towards you. They will want to come and play with you. So don't force it. Don't force it. You just focus on yourself, focus on being excellent, play, enjoy, be creative, and you'll see you're still going to have so many friends. So help them to understand that. And as parents, support them. Ask questions from the teachers. So if your child tells you no one plays with me in school, don't just throw that away. As much as you would help your child to give your child the proper narrative and how to handle it, you also need to speak with the teachers. Find out what's going on in school. Find out what the values are in terms of diversity, in terms of inclusion. Let the teacher know the struggles of your child. And sometimes, if you need to escalate it, escalate it. Never in an aggressive way, never in an aggressive way, but in a way that you can help them understand. You can help the authorities understand your perspective. That's very, very important. It's very important. So guide them. You need to discuss media with them. What are they saying on media? Find out from them and help them to give them the right perspective to these things. Sometimes media authorities, they do more harm than good because they leave the minority group leaving that room feeling more battered than they were before. So what you do at home, how they wear their confidence, what you tell them at home matters way more than what they see on media. So have those regular talks with them. Uh, Always make sure that you find out what they know. Always make sure that you find out what they know. That's so important. What their friends said to them, with just chat, and you would get more information from them. Uh, One more thing that I would like to say on this is that it's very important for you as parents to help your kids to allow your kids see who you are when it comes to issues of diversity and inclusion, because that's what they wear. That's what they see. They try to copy you. So help them to see the right perspectives to these things, that everyone is beautifully created by God. Everyone is beautifully created. It's very important. So somebody tells your child, you don't look beautiful. Teach your child what to always say back. Ask your child, what did you tell the person? Oh, I'm beautifully made. I'm wonderfully made by God. I love the way I look. If they tell, and let your child just walk away. So you don't need to engage with them for too long, but say something and walk away from that situation. In terms of showing fairness to others, it's very important. There are times that parents hear their children say things that are inappropriate, things that demean other people, and they just let it go, maybe because it's not to them. But it's important that when you catch your kids saying that, you make sure that you give them the right perspective. Tell them, oh no, that's not the right thing to say. You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't say that to anyone. Every single person is equal. Let them understand the value in that one human race and understand that everyone has different colors. There is no single divide. You could have someone who has maybe the same color as another person, but different colors of eyes. And it doesn't make sense that one person with blue eyes will say, "Oh, I'm better than you because you have green eyes." No. Or someone with brown eyes will say, "I'm better than you because you have black eyeballs." It doesn't make sense. So let them understand that, so that when they interact with these issues, they will know that those people don't know better. And that helps them to stay confident. It helps them to keep their their level of confidence. Teach them not to be abusive. They shouldn't abuse other people, but they should speak up. Speak up in a very courteous way. Speak up in a way that uh, keeps their self-esteem intact, and they don't need to stay there. They speak up and they walk away. That's very important, and this depends on on different circumstances. So you need to ask questions to know how to guide them, depending on what they are experiencing or what they go through. So I think I would stop here, and I'm going to invite my friends Tolu and Dami to join me in the conversation. Hey, Dami. Hi, Tolu.
Hi, Ife.
Okay, great.
Hi, Petaya.
Hi, hi. So I think I will start from Tolu. Uh, so I know that Tolu has a lot of experience working with children, and
I'm gonna change.
she's a very intelligent mind. She's got a lot of great perspective. So Tolu, I'd like you to respond to this question. In
Okay.
your work with kids, have you experienced situations where maybe some children who are within the minority group struggle, or have you had struggles in your work with children? I know you work with children, or the younger kids. So how has that been, and how have you been able to handle it?
Right. Thank you, Ife. So yes, I work with young children, and I also work with older ones, up till around the 12 actually. But one experience stands out for me. Uh, in one of the places I worked at, a child walked up to me. He was about 4, I think. And he pointed in my face and he said, "Why are you so black?" And the first time he asked the question, I pretended I didn't hear him. And he said it again. So I had to take a minute because I didn't want to like respond immediately. So I took a minute. I spoke to somebody else in my room and then I went back and I brought him back to me and then brought another child and another child. And then I said, "Can you see his color? Is it the same as yours?" He said, "No." "Look at him. Is it the same as yours?" "No." I said, "Okay. That means we're all different. And different doesn't mean better or worse. We're just different." And it gives it a good flavor. And that was a teaching moment. I so for a few days after that, we were then reading books about diversity, about different skin colors, about different traditions. Then we introduced some home items like homemade items
Mhm.
that are different colors to reinforce the teaching to let the kids know that there are different colors and it's okay. So somebody might like coffee. Coffee is black. Coffee is almost black or brown.
Mhm.
Cinnamon is this color, and then you would bring it and actually show them, and then link it back to the message in the book. And eventually, what we ended up teaching them was that we might look different, but it's okay.
Right.
It's what gives us the variety, right? And to borrow something that my daughter said, yeah, we all look different, but if you open us up, we all have the same red. We all bleed red.
Mhm.
And that's my daughter's words.
Mhm.
So for children, like if I've worked with a child who is a minority who is then maybe feeling left out, because of the kind of settings that I've worked in, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist or that it doesn't happen, but we try as much as possible to include all children and to make sure that everybody is, so nobody has a special friend.
Right.
Nobody has this special friend that they're playing with today. I mean, obviously, some children will gravitate more towards another person, but most of their activities are like group based. So you can't decide that. Some children will probably sit beside each other, but there is not much much opportunity given for victimizing other children, especially with younger children.
Right.
If I was going to give an example, my daughter is my daughter. She's had an experience, but we dealt with it at home. There was a child who was targeting her. And so I took my teacher's pen and I wrote a very long note in my most educated voice to her teacher to let her know that this needed to be dealt with, and that my daughter said, somebody said this word to her, it's not allowed, it's not okay. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
Tolu, let me ask you a question. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people say that children don't see color. You know, I personally think that is somewhat of a myth. They might not necessarily understand it, but I think children see different. So and I think if you have that mindset of children don't see color, then you kind of don't want to educate them as
obviously
as early as you should, you know. So me, I always say, look, they might not necessarily see color, but they see different. They see this person looks different from me, and they might not necessarily attach a positive or a negative
exactly
thing to it. But this person looks different. And then it comes from the home. What they tell them at home is what then determines, maybe not necessarily at home, what they see on TV or how they see other people behave is then what makes them decide whether or not that should either be a negative or positive.
Or a positive. Fantastic contribution. And I think, kids see color. It's the reason they would know that black is different from white, or that blue is different from yellow, or that green is different from pink, right? So they see it. And now, because they see those colors, but they don't necessarily attach any negative meanings to it or positive meanings, they're just colors, right? So if a child came up to me and said, why is your color different? If a child asked me, it depends. So the same week that a child asked me, why are you so black? Another child came to me, brought her hands beside mine and said, our colors are so different. Look at the two different perspectives, right? And I said, yes, you're different from me and I'm different from you. I said, you just had a little sister, right? And she said, yes. I said, I bet your sister's color is different from yours. And she said, that is so true. She's very different.
Yeah.
You can hear my son. And so children do see color. They do.
Yeah, I do agree that children see color. I think the context from saying that children don't see color is just basically that, you know, these children do not
they don't attach anything.
They don't attach anything,
any negativity
to it. Exactly. And but the reality is that I had that perspective as well, that children don't see color. So, I just say, fine, children don't see color. They do understand that there are differences. So when I say children don't see color, it's not that they don't see color. It's a deeper meaning, right? So but then when I realized that my son, my little son, was experiencing certain things in school, at that point, I said to myself that it's not just about raising kids who don't see color, because that's the goal, and that's the goal of this conversation, to embrace diversity.
Maybe not, can I say something? Yeah? Maybe not kids who don't see color. Maybe kids who see color and accept that it's okay that we are different.
Absolutely. We're saying exactly the same thing. So
in different ways.
In different ways, exactly. So of course the children do see colors, but that it doesn't mean anything to them. See that we're all the same and all that. But when I realized that the way I'm raising my kids is totally different from the way other people are raising their kids. So I need to raise my child to be prepared to deal with the issues
Absolutely.
from those
Absolutely.
other families. And so
Absolutely.
I realized that it's time to begin to teach these children, no matter how young they are. Let's give
Absolutely.
them the narrative from home. Let's give them
Yeah.
the narrative from home, and that's what we've been doing. Let me ask a second question. A second
Yeah.
question from you, Tolu, before I go to Dami. So just give one tip of what you've done or what you have done in your home to help your kids to embrace who they are. One tip.
See, it's very hard to give one tip. I have like a million. But I will say that the biggest thing for me is what am I saying to my child? To my child, what are you saying to your children?
Right.
How much of good things are you saying to them?
Mm-hmm.
I have I have a saying that you need to fill your children up with so much love that they even forget that hate exists in the world,
Right.
right? Your child look at themselves and be able to say, I am smart, I am beautiful, I am confident.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where I go, I stand out. I can speak anywhere, I can talk to anybody
Mm-hmm.
because I am made in God's image. So I did a test just before I came here, and I called my son and I said, if someone said to you that you're ugly, what would you say? I said, I'm not ugly, I'm handsome. And nobody can tell me I'm created in God's image, And that made me feel good. Like, okay, I'm doing something right? So what are you filling your children with? I gave an example earlier about Michelle Obama and how she said in her documentary, Becoming, that for a long time, she wasn't even aware of her blackness because that a lot of who she is was made at their dinner table, what
Right.
her parents were saying to her. So are you telling your children that they're beautiful? Are you telling them that you love their hair? You love everything about them? Call their body, their features, and let them know what you like about those features,
Right.
That is my one tip.
Thank you so much, Tolu. And I probably will still come back to you. So Dami, my question for you is, so we're talking two things today. One is teaching your kids to love who they are. The other is helping them to understand how to show fairness to other people. So I'm going to ask you on the second part of what we're doing here today. How have you been able to help, from your own perspective, from your family, how have you been able to help your kids understand fairness? And before you go on, Dami, let me just introduce Dami. That Dami is another very good friend of mine. Dami is very passionate when it comes about family matters. She is a very analytical person, and I always like to engage with her on topics like this. So, Dami, please, if you would just help and talk about how you help from your perspective in showing fairness to others.
Thanks, Ipe. So for me, one thing I started early on with my kids was just letting them know that people are who they are, regardless of their skin color. So your skin color doesn't define you.
Right.
And people's skin colors don't define them. And I've always taught them that people are going to be jerks. People that are jerks regardless of the color of their skin, And so you have people that are nice. You have the nicest of people in all shades, right? White, black, whatever you call it. You have people that are nice across the different shades of the spectrum, just as you have jerks across the different shades of the spectrum. And so that somebody is mean to you is not necessarily because of the color of their skin, it's who they are on the inside, on how they've been taught. So I teach her, I'm very big on reinforcing family values. And so I let her know that, look, everybody else outside might be doing things a certain way. This is how we behave in our family. These are our values. These are the things that we believe. I tell her all the time, look, a lot of people don't believe what we believe in. They're different. People are raised differently, but I'm teaching you, to be kind. I'm teaching you to be kind to people, regardless of of who they are or what they've done. I'm teaching you to always, be the bigger person. I'm teaching you to always just show compassion whenever you can, even when people are not as nice. You just do your bit, show your niceness, show your compassion. Compassion is not stupidity. Compassion doesn't mean that you let people walk all over you. If somebody tells you, Tolu, I really love your example of you asking your son, if someone says you're ugly, well, how do you respond? I do that with my daughter all the time. I tell her, look, you're beautiful. If somebody tells you they don't want to play with you, you tell them, that's okay. I can play by myself. True. Or you tell them, look, I have a ton of other friends. She had my daughter had an incident at school when some child had said, I can't play with you, or you can't play with us because we're white and you're black, and I told her, and the teacher said she was crying and all of that because, there had been instances, but that one was just so overt and in your face, right? And we go home and I told her, I said, I keep telling you all the time that you have a ton of other friends, and I sat down and I was listing all her friends. I was like, you have this person and that person. And, she got so excited and she was like, that's right, Mom. And she also started listing her other friends. She's like, that's right. I have a ton of other friends. I'm like, that's correct. That person was mean to you, not because of anything you had done, but because of something she had learned that was incorrect, and so it's nothing to do with you. It's everything to do with that person and how she was brought up, and so you don't let that singular incident define who you are. You realize that that's on her. She doesn't want to play with me. I still have a ton of other friends, let it not affect her self-worth or anything, but really just reinforcing kindness, teaching them. And it's so funny because her and that girl, they ended up becoming friends. Because exactly, because after that incident, I had a conversation with the girl's mom and she was just crying, and she had said how she had no idea how her daughter could have gotten that information. They tried to, and in my mind, I'm like, you might be the nicest of person, but if you don't teach your kids, someone else is going to teach them for you. It could be, and she kept on saying, I don't know where they got it from. And I'm like, you know what? It could be TV. It could be a grandparent who doesn't know any better. It could be an older sibling who doesn't know any better. So you could be the nicest of people, and you would raise up jerks if you don't train your kids and if you don't teach them. And so, yeah, and I also don't want my daughter to go out being the bully. And so at home, I teach her, to be kind, to be fair, to show compassion to everybody, regardless of skin color, regardless of differences. You don't have to agree with them. Their values could be completely different from ours. So we don't have to agree with their values, but still be kind and still be compassionate.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks, Dami, for that perspective. Very, very useful perspective you have there. I remember an experience that happened, at my children's school, and someone passed a very racist comment, like, oh, don't come on the snow because you don't have our skin color. And, when I heard that, first thing was, so what did you say? But it was, I had to do more. We had to do more as a family. We had a meeting at school. we sent a very long email, nothing nasty, but educating them and giving them appropriate perspective. At some point, one of the teachers in school reached out and said, we're talking about this topic around diversity and all that, and we just want you to maybe just give us some perspective because of the issue that happened the other time. So I realized that a lot of times, many parents, when they hear these things, they don't do anything about it. Or when they do something about it, they're so aggressive. And, it just puts a tag on, they are so aggressive. They're trying to, you want to make sure that even if that happens, you take it up, you help your kids. At the same time, you still make them feel like that person that did it is not a bad person. It doesn't mean that that child is a bad child. That child does not just know better. So I think It's been very useful having this conversation. It's about a minute more. So I would ask if there is any other final words from Tolu, and then final words from Danny.
Okay, I like that thing that you said about kids being aggressive. What I find is that a lot of people are teaching their children to become bullies without knowing that that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So teaching them that when somebody does something bad to you, you shouldn't be quiet. You shouldn't take it lightly.
Right.
In fact, you can push somebody if they do that. I've heard people say things like that. Yes, I've heard people say things like that. And at the end of the day, you don't counter evil with evil, in my own opinion. Let me give you a quick example. Something happened and somebody was bullying somebody, and my child came home and said, we need to pray for this person because I don't believe that they should be doing that. And she also said that in school. The vice principal actually called me and said, thank you for raising such a beautiful child, that somebody is being mean to her and all she's saying is we need to pray for this person. Like, she actually said that to me, and that made me really proud of her. But I've heard parents say to their children, like, if someone pushes you, make sure that you push them so hard that they even fall.
I've heard that.
And I'm wondering, okay, so when that happens, what is going to happen? Like, so what have you gotten from it? How about telling your child that it's okay to walk away? It's okay to say a kind word. It's okay to not even.
Sorry to cut you short there. I think my approach to those things is, and I hear you, a lot of people say to their kids, push them, do this, do that. But I always try to find out what my kids would say, because when somebody says something to you, it's important to say something back. When somebody says something mean to you, it's important to say something, because sometimes the approach might be to walk away, but a lot of times when these kids just walk away, they keep it, and it becomes like a thorn in their flesh. So
okay, when I say walk away, I don't mean walk away in the sense that don't respond. Say something firm, and leave. And just leave the place. So if someone says you're ugly, tell them, no, I'm not ugly, I'm actually beautiful, and walk away from them. That's what I mean by walk away.
Sounds good.
Like, don't keep engaging.
No, don't engage. There's no point.
Don't keep engaging. Thank you very much. Thanks for that. So Danny, do you have any final words for us?
Final words. I mean, if your kids live outside of the continent of Africa, the reality of it is they're just going to have to be very comfortable, being the only person that looks like them in the room. If there's one thing that we need to instill in our kids, it's confidence. There's a difference between pride and arrogance and confidence. It's teaching your kids that healthy, godly confidence,
right.
That they know who they are, and what they are, and not allowing anybody shake them. And the only way that's going to happen is if you keep reinforcing it and over and over and over again. And so, make sure that your kids are so open and honest with you and are able to have open conversations with you, so that you're in a position to encourage and, reinforce. And when things happen, as they will, they're able to tell you, and you help them navigate the situation. So just being sure that your kids don't just internalize all that's going on, they're able to have open and just loving conversations with you as a parent, and you're able to just reinforce your family values and just kindness to them. That's what I would say.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Thanks, Dami. Thanks, Tony. This has been so helpful. And I really think we should do this more. Trust me. It feels really good to be
if it's going to pay money.
Yeah, if it's going to pay money, that wouldn't be bad. But I think the big reward is seeing lives changed, seeing helped, and all that.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're here. That's why the
Absolutely.
we had actually recorded, we had done a live video, and it was just to post that live video, and for some reason the live video disappeared. So I just pulled a call through to Dami and Tolu that you just have to join me on Zoom and let's do this, because so many people are waiting for the Zoom video. They just, I mean, for the recorded video, they really wanted it. And I hope this would be helpful for them.
I believe it will be.
Yeah.
Thank you so
well,
much.
Ifedaya, always a pleasure. Tolu, same.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye, ladies.
Yeah.